the problem is, and I saw it again yesterday, Americans are offering. Like the Victor Bout dude is really bad.
This guy is not one that you want to let
really
go.
bad, and it's like,
in fact,
you're offering.
He only has like another 14 years on his sentence, and you're thinking that's not enough.
No.
Right? This guy went out of his way to find the most heinous people that hated Americans more than, the life itself, and were willing to do anything. They were willing to wear this stuff and just roll into whatever building they could to blow up as many Americans as possible. This was the kind of guys that this Victor Bout or Boot was seeking out. All right? You couldn't have a more heinous criminal. It sounds, I don't mean to make light of this, but it is true that trading Brittany Griner as a political prisoner for Victor Boot is worse, more lopsided than Joe Barry Carroll for the Chief and the rights to Kevin McHale. Who's making this deal? Red Auerbach? For the Russians? My God.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Friday morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to be with you here. Good to be anywhere. Jeff DeForest, Michael Lubitz with you. It's a Degenerate Friday here on South Florida Live, and we'll be with you this morning Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. Glad you guys are tuning in, finding the show. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, South Florida Live. That helps us out a lot, and that's the way to do it, man. If you're catching us on Facebook right now, convert all of your action to South Florida Live on the YouTube channel. Become a subscriber, and this show will grow immensely by leaps and bounds with each and every day. As has been the case, I guess this has happened through Facebook, with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, an overwhelming favorite on South Florida Live, getting thousands of viewers on a daily basis because Mike found a way to tap into just a beautiful resource, that Let's Eat South Florida thing that he has going with the Sun Sentinel on Facebook. He's going to join us later on today. And then Lubie and I are headed for a spectacular, which I have invited some members of the public. I'm not sure how far to extend this, though, Mike Lubie, because I don't want to put Tommy T on the spot there. Tom's Louisiana Kitchen going to be catering a little lunch affair for us today, and that'll happen at 12 o'clock. We'll have the show here on South Florida Live. That'll be a live edition, which you were part of a very festive occasion, from what I understand yesterday, Mr. Mike Lubitz. How did that go?
Yeah, Naren's Kitchen in Deerfield Beach. They took care of us. Like, they kept bringing out food and bringing out food and bringing out food. And there was only like three or four of us, and I guess like Sarnie came, thank God. So that brought up.
You're popping a little bit, by the way. I don't know if you can make an adjustment there, but you're starting to pop, snap, crackle, and pop on me a little bit. All right.
So Sarnie came, and that brought up the people quotient, and we were able to almost eat the food. It was amazing. I mean, I've never had Lao. I've been to Thai, and it was close. But Mayo was right. It is different than Thai food. The noodles are a little different. The liquids, the flavors, and it was a really good time. We really enjoyed it. And I'm super stoked for today with Tom T.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, he does this thing with the grilled oysters. By the way, you were still getting a little snap, crackle, and pop effect there. I don't know if that was coming across, but we now understand that it's on you from Lubie's Kitchen, which should be another kind of show that we have on South Florida Live, right? We have Mike Mayo eating food all day, and as Andy pointed out, Mayo is expanding in more ways than one. It's not just his media presence that's expanding on the horizon. It might be his waistline as well, but he seems to maintain it pretty well. I got to give Mayo credit. He still has a metabolic rate that is in excess of 0.0, which mine is at. I mean, I look at food and I put on 5 pounds, so it's not an easy thing. Although we're happy to see that Mike has now decided that he's going to embrace the walk of life concept, which I think is just a marginal commitment to physical fitness. Is it not? I mean, okay, you're gonna. I mean, it's Jerry Lewis time. Look at us, we're walking. Not to, imply that it isn't a great thing that he was doing in raising money for people with muscular dystrophy, but the slogan itself often runs through my head as I'm doing my walk of life, saying, "What's the big deal, DeForest? You act like you're suffering, man. Now you're walking, for God's sake, walking." You have the ability to do it. Just get out there and do it. All right. So we're happy to see that Mike is adhering to the idea that, he might have to change his evil ways. That you can't just become sedate in the idea that you can consume any amount of calories on a given day. When he had those 2 sub sandwiches in the same day, in the same hour, on the same show, I don't know. It's kind of like John Harbaugh's record in the preseason, isn't it? 21 straight games that the Ravens have won with John Harbaugh in the preseason. They have won 21 straight. The Greek is going to join us in a few minutes here, and we're happy to have the Greek. And I think this might be only the second time. Have we had the Greek on? Does he do video, I hope? Yes, he does, right? No?
He does
No video on the Greek? I mean, he's a handsome guy, this guy. What are you talking about?
I'll try and get him video.
See if you can get him on the video thing. I don't know. He was laying so low there. He was going through a rough period of time there. I mean, it was a breakup. He talked about it. And has he recovered from that? I really hope he has. Because certainly there's been enough time, enough of a buffer, that if you haven't seen the light by now, that you're far better off, then, you really need to start maybe even considering some form of therapy. Although I believe all of that. I don't mean to impugn the psychiatric and psychological fields, but for the most part, it's pretty much a waste of time, isn't it?
No,
You sit there and fetch. The guy's texting on his phone. He's not even listening. He's heard all of these same bitches before. Well, you know what? She doesn't treat me like a man. Well, go find another woman then. I mean, do something. Just get out of here. Quit your crying. It's like that scene in The Godfather, right, where the star, the supposed Sinatra type character is whining. Hey, they won't even give me a movie part. And finally, Brando just cracks up as the Godfather and says, "You're crying like a baby. Stop it already. Grow up. Be a man." That's what you have to do. All right, toughen up a little bit. But I understand all of that. But believe me, I've had my share of. I'm sure I'm enduring right now my share of psychological problems. Hey, is this sounding any good? I don't. Everybody has concerns about this sort of thing. But just plow ahead. That's what you have to do. Just keep plowing that field, which is a nice lead into the idea. I didn't see any of this. I did see some highlights. The Field of Dreams game. Are you attracted to the Field of Dreams game? Everybody seems to love that concept. Where you had the Griffies yesterday coming out of a cornfield and coming on to what seemed to be a pretty manicured baseball diamond, considering it was cut out in the middle of nowhere there. I guess, was that the actual field they used in the movie? The Field of Dreams place where they do the ball game now. It's been on an annual basis. It's kind of nice. It's like the Winter Classic in hockey. I always dug that, although it seems like that they have like multiple Winter Classics in the NHL now. That was such a novelty when they did it the first time, and it was great. It was snowing, and it reminded people. I couldn't skate. I'm terrible at balance sports, but I couldn't skate. But a lot of the kids in my neighborhood, when we moved to Long Island, naturally, this didn't happen in Brooklyn. Nobody had skates. If they did, they were using them to rob convenience stores. But they're just the blade alone. But yeah, a lot of guys played hockey when I was a kid. The canal behind the houses there in the area where I live would freeze over, and people were playing hockey there, and they were playing on lakes and things like that. But I could not skate a lick. So, I was out of that mixture. But it always reminded, it was like grassroots stuff when they had the Winter Classic in the NHL, and it was like the old days where these guys used to go out there and be skating on a lake. I don't know. Were you ever involved in any kind of? You wouldn't have been involved in hockey because you lived in Florida your whole life, for God's sake.
I played
What would be the point?
roller hockey like on roller skates. I can't ice skate to save my life like that.
Yeah. The first time I tried it, I fell down and broke my wrist, and that kind of gave me an aversion for the whole concept. I tried it a couple of times after that, but it wasn't really good. I was only good on the double blades. I don't know. Remember when they used to have the double blades that they gave kids that were just starting out? It was kind of like skates with training wheels in a sense. It had 2 blades, so you could actually stand on the thing without having to sort of balance yourself a little bit. But no, I don't know why. I just had such a negative experience. I mean, a broken wrist was not a pleasant thing as a little kid. And then I'm thinking, well, why am I doing this, right? What if I hit my head? That would have been, a real disaster. So, I stayed out of that. I would have enjoyed it because it seems like just a tremendous game, although it's hard to imagine these guys flying around at the speeds that they do and then crashing into each other with the impact that they have. I don't know how every hockey player is not on injured reserve for the entire season. It's pretty incredible, what these guys are able to do. But anyway, it was a nice thing because it kind of brought you back to the idea of, skating in your youth there and playing those kind of games recreationally with your friends. And now you're seeing NHL players do it. But it seems to me that it's expanded to the point where there's more than one a season. Am I wrong about that, Mike Lubie? It's the Winter Classic in the NHL. Do they have more than one per season? Because these things, after they gain in popularity and are usually praised as being wonderful for the sport, end up being bastardized, much like the playoffs in a lot of sports, where virtually everybody makes the playoffs. I think there are 12 teams in the WNBA. Is that right? And 8 make the playoffs. I mean, holy National Hockey League, my friends. I remember they had a 6-team league and 4 made the playoffs. There were only 2 teams eliminated when I was watching hockey. And it was usually like the Rangers and the Bruins, right? You had the Red Wings were bad back then. The Blackhawks occasionally also. The 2 Canadian teams were automatics. And, of course, Montreal won the championship every year. Thus, you have the trivia question, who has as many team titles as Bill Russell did with the dominant Boston Celtics. And if you remember, if you grew up in that era, Montreal used to win the championship every year. And not the Rocket, but the Pocket Rocket, Henri Richard. Was he the brother or the son? No, he had to be the brother of Maurice Richard. No, son of Maurice Richard, the Pocket Rocket.
And then WNBA has 12 teams. You're right. Look at you.
12 teams and 8 make the playoffs. Right there's a big battle going on. I'm looking at this every night on SportsCenter, and I'm seeing the Liberty are 1 game out. They're 13-19 or 13-20 on the season. And I'm thinking, how is that possible that a team that's 7 games under 500 in a limited number of games is still a playoff contender? And it's because everybody makes the playoffs except for 2/3 of the teams in the league end up making the postseason.
And Henri Richard was given the Pocket Rocket because he was the much younger brother.
Okay.
Richard, the Rocket.
So we're giving a little sports lesson here, Lubie.
I'm so proud of you.
Mostly trying to remember what the fuck it was that we knew like 50 years ago.
Good for him.
The Pocket Rocket, he was great. I mean, there was nothing wrong with Henri Richard. He won 11 championships with the Montreal Canadiens. I think he won all of them with the Canadians. I want to say yes. I don't think the Pocket Rocket ever played for another team. Is that a fair statement? Lubie, would you take a guess on that? Pocket Rocket, never. I want to say he played his entire career. That's what people did back in the day. They played their entire career with one team. It was very distinctive, and there was none of this baloney where at the end of their career they ended up playing for 4 or 5 different teams, and thus, had to make the big debate whether they were going in as a member of the Seattle Mariners or maybe they would sign like you see this in football where a guy signs a 1-year contract, a 1-day contract, so he can retire as a member of a certain club.
Wow, he played with the Montreal, the Nationals, some other team, the National, and then he played with the Canadians his entire career. Wow, that's crazy.
Okay, all right. So I don't know. What was that, junior hockey, the Montreal National? I don't know where they ever. This guy wasn't playing in like the 30s or anything. I mean, he was around in the early 50s and 60s when I was watching hockey as a kid. Win Elliott.
Whatever that is. Wow, good for you. You're like,
yeah. Henri Richard. I remember Henri Richard. I remember that. The sad part is I remember Maurice. Chevalier, for God's sake. That's what it's like being an old fart. All right, we had a couple of preseason games last night. Here's a trend already. Okay. Jim Sarney, the great Jim Sarney, points out to me that both of the games by handicappers that he was reading their recommendations yesterday, both of the games that were on a slate last night, the Ravens played, and so did the Patriots played the Giants. The Ravens played Tennessee. Both of the games. Now, there are very tepid totals for these games in the preseason because most people are expecting not an elaborate passing game, and you're thinking you have backup quarterbacks in there and backup running backs and backup offensive linemen. And what is the cliche true? Well, the defense is way ahead of the offense at this stage of the season. And then you hear all of the comments from coaches. Well, we kept it very vanilla. We just ran the ball up the middle every play. And we actually told them we were going to run up the middle every play. And we weren't going to attempt any passes more than 5 yards down the field. Okay, great. So you're thinking unders are a cinch. And sure enough, all 3 games so far, including the Hall of Fame game, which was an annuity as an under, it was right there with the NBA All-Star game and the NHL All-Star game when they played an All-Star game, which we still haven't figured out what it is that they do for the NHL All-Star game. They have a skills competition. They got a bunch of guys trying to grab a brass ring off a merry-go-round. They don't actually play a hockey game, I don't think, anymore. And they should just do it outside and play it like the winter. That should be the Winter Classic, the NHL All-Star game. Play an actual game and take care of everything all at once. But those were routine overs every year. NBA All-Star Game, NHL All-Star Game. And no matter what the total, they could put up 16 goals in the NHL game as the over-under, and boom, it would land on 18, and you'd cash on the over virtually every season. I would think the Hall of Fame game was an annuity at the under, no matter what the point total was, because nobody gives a flying one about it. Nobody plays. So this year, of course, they easily eclipsed the over-under total of 30 and a hook by scoring 38 points. And both games last night went over in spite of the recommendations of various expert handicappers that were telling everybody to bet the under in both games. So far, all three preseason games. This is heads up for those of you that are. Now, what does that mean to you, Lubie? Would the logic dictate then that this trend would reverse quickly? Or is it that there's a new approach to the preseason in NFL football where they're not vanilla, they're chocolate, they're strawberry, they're Neapolitan, and they're going after it a little bit? These backup quarterbacks always look good, right? Brian Hoyer actually looked like a viable quarterback last night for the Patriots, at least on the drive that I saw. Tyrod Taylor looked brilliant, just absolutely incredible. Tyrod Taylor, brilliant.
He's still there. I didn't realize he was still
the Patriots now. See, I saw that game at 2.5. You say the Greek hit it on the head. He had the Giants, and they were favored by 2.5 on the odds line that I saw. Now, maybe that line went down because the Patriots were at home, and there was no reason to bet the Giants at 2.5. Not sure.
We got it at quick, so I gave him the push.
All right, so he gets the push there, the old pusheroo. Although, by my calculations, the Giants failed to cover the point spread, and the recommendation of the guy who was writing for Action Sports was actually correct. He said, take a flyer with the Patriots, getting 2.5 points at home. There was no real reason to think that, oh, my God, the Giants are going to be so great. They did start Daniel Jones in the game, so they used their starting quarterback, which I find this somewhat surprising. Andy Reid, the fat man himself, is talking about starting Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs. Would you even bother with that? Patrick Mahomes shouldn't even be in training camp, should he? He should show up the day day of the game when the season starts.
Oh,
I wouldn't even let him off the bus, would you? Patrick Mahomes. Imagine this. He busts a wing on the opening play of the preseason, and that's it. Kansas City, El Finito, my friends. There goes the AFC West. Just hand it right over to who would you say is the next best team in the AFC West? Would you give it to the
I would
Raiders?
say the Broncos. People keep saying the Chargers. I would say the Broncos. I think Russell Wilson's still really good, and he has a lot to prove.
He says he wants to play another 10 years.
Oh, Jesus.
I think he's like 30-something already. Wow. Unbelievable. Another 10 years? Holy Tom Brady. Brady, by the way, not going to see any action in the first or second preseason game. In fact, he's not even in training camp for personal reasons. I would imagine Giselle said, hey, you know what? I'm not sitting home and washing dishes and taking care of these kids, Tommy boy, while you're playing football again after you were already retired. You promised me, Tommy, you would be home. You promised me. You promised me a life. So I don't know what kind of pressure he's adhering to, but certainly isn't coming from Todd Bowles. Keep him in training. Maybe Arians was opposed to the idea that Tommy could skip all of training camp this year.
Well, I'm sure.
He's getting skinnier, too. What the hell is he doing? What does he just eat? Like micro wheat germ or something? I don't know.
Avocado.
What is this guru feeding this man? I got to get on that diet, man. He looks great. Holy shit. All right. So you have a bunch of games tonight. We have the Jets in action tonight against the Eagles. Jets are favored on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think about that, Mike Lubitz? What do you think about that, Mikey? Huh?
Eagles, I guess?
Jets.
I don't know. The preseason is so impossible. That's why I love the Greek trying.
Yeah.
I think it's a ridiculous.
Very short spreads. Almost pick them in all games. Pretty close here. Jets favored by 1. Falcons on the road against the Lions. You don't think Dan Campbell wants to establish a winning attitude with the Lions this year? Come on.
There you go.
I'm all over the Lions in that game. I'm going all in on the Lions over the Falcons, who, the Falcons have a lot to figure out. They don't even know who's their quarterback going to be. Is it Mariota? Is he going to start for the Falcons? Marcus Mariota? Not exactly the most exciting thing. And he probably sits out because, well, we know what Marcus can do. We don't know what he could do. We never knew what he could do. What are you talking about? What kind of a cliche is that? We know what Marcus can do. Get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable with that. Browns favored over the Jaguars. The Jaguars already played a game. Would you not say that since they have a race over the track, that the Jaguars would be eligible for improvement here? And they're at home. Now, we know the Jaguars are a lousy team. The Browns are going to start Deshaun Watson, apparently, at quarterback. That ought to sit well with Roger Goodell. How weird is that, right? The guy doesn't even know if he's going to be out indefinitely, like suspended for life, with the possibility of coming back. We're talking about with the possibility of parole. And he's still going to be out there, like at the very beginning of the season, representing, his entire philosophy about women in front of all the people that are fans of the National Football League. No doubt. And will there be any mention of these civil suits by the announcers who are doing the game on NFL Network? 0.0? I would think so. All right, well, we have to run here. We have the Greek coming up. He's going to make a few predictions for us here. This is a guy that seriously believes that he can hit in the preseason and has a proven track record of doing so.
Yes.
It'd be one thing for him to tell us that, and we go, yeah, sure, okay, I know you like the 5. Get the fuck out of here. But he has defied all logic and come up with winners. What do you say? He has some kind of a record working here on the channel, right? 14
He's
and
14,
6?
14, 6 and 1 because I gave him the push. 14, 6 and 1.
I mean, that's hitting at 70%. I would take that all day long. Would you not, people? You can make money with the 70% win ratio. So we'll have the Greek. He's coming up. It's always good to talk to the Greek, whether we see him or not here on the show. It's going to be good. The professor with the big board is around the corner. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, going to join us as well. And there's some stuff to get to also. Very nice. Coco Gauff has been drawing like the toughest draws in these tournaments. She's already had to mow down a couple of monsters, including Arina Sabalenka, who is a player of tremendous promise, and you always think she's going to break through. All the ability in the world, but somehow is very self-destructive when she's out there. Almost Kyrgios without the mental breakdowns. They're not as obvious, but somehow hasn't been able to capitalize on what seems to be immense, overwhelming talent. And Coco, in a 3-set, 3-hour bloodbath yesterday, wins and now has to go against Simona Halep, who's having a really good season. And I forget who she mowed down in the previous round, but it was somebody, of an up, high-level stature also in tennis, and she's been getting tough draws, but playing very well. And I believe that moved her into the top 10. So Coco Gauff at 18 is now a top 10 women's tennis player in the world in a very, very evenly matched, top-heavy, and high-level field. So very good. Congratulations in order there. All right, Bill Russell's number going to be retired all around the NBA. Number 6, but there are still plenty of people that wear number 6, including LeBron James. Now, if you're one of those guys that wears number 6 right now, and you have the permission of the NBA to continue doing so until the end of your career, at which time no one else will ever wear it again for that team, would you just go ahead and say, you know what, forget it, I'll be number 7 this year? James has been on the numbers, right? Number 23, wasn't he 23? Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Which, I don't know. I mean, should Jordan's number also be retired? Why don't they just should retire numbers of all greats? No mention of the doctor in association, conjunction with that number 6 retirement number. Of course, the doctor wore number 6 with the Philadelphia 76ers. Who else? Can you think of anybody else wearing number 6, Lubie, in the history of the NBA? Bill Russell, of course.
Mario Chalmers.
Mario Chalmers should have had his name mentioned.
There you go.
Well, we'd like to honor Bill Russell. Of course, we're happy to see the doctor's number included, and Mario Chalmers out of Kansas. He had a couple of good years. All right, the Greek going to join us next. That's always a lot of fun. We love the Greek. He's a great guy, great American, and at one time was a degenerate's degenerate. I'm not sure where he stands right now because can you really count a guy a degenerate who's not putting his money up there? I think he's changed. I don't know, but he's honest though. He's one of those guys. He doesn't make up a lot of stuff like we do. He just gives you this. No, I'm not betting. So we'll find out from the Greek where he's at. Then the professor with the big board, always great here on a Degenerate Friday. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, which will be doing some gourmet dining later on. Tom's Louisiana Kitchen, which supposedly he's just importing like stuff to make a makeshift kitchen outside of this Nobo Brewery in Boynton Beach. I invited my friend Craig from the track yesterday to come out there, and I guess, I don't know, is the public welcome to this thing? I can't imagine like a zillion people are going to show up, but if there are too many people here, does that mean that we get to eat less oysters, Lubie? Because I'm looking forward to those grilled oysters. I'm heading to New Orleans next Friday on a freebie. In fact, I'm going to have to hand the show over to you Friday, because I believe the flight is like at 6 in the morning or something, which... it's a little lame, man, right? I mean, in New Orleans, 6 in the morning, there's nothing going on there on Bourbon Street. They're just literally like picking people up off the streets there and cleaning up vomit at 6 in the morning. So not exactly a sightseeing opportunity. And, of course, when you get to the hotel, they say, well, your room will be ready at about 3 o'clock here. You want to leave your stuff down there with the bellman and just go to the casino? Okay, so now you're in a casino for 6 hours with no place to go, no alternative except to just sit there and gamble at these machines, which pretty much at their mercy. All right, back with the Greek in a moment here. Hialeah Park, just a beautiful place to go. You see the logo there in the background. It's absolutely fantastic. Hialeah Park, wow. Weekends are always a gas there. They're open till 5 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. Open up at 9. They have the casino cranking. That's doing great. Big jackpots being taken down all the time. We tell you to get a player's card when you come through the door, and we mean that. The rewards program there is sensational, and they've really done a tremendous job of taking care of their patrons since the inception of the casino and going all the way back to when it was one of the great racing establishments anywhere in the world. And it still is with the Champion Simulcasting Room, so you can plunge away to your heart's content. A lot of great racing taking place over the weekend. You got the spa with the 4-star Dave coming up, and a bunch of great stakes action and racing taking place at Del Mar out in California. All around the country, you can plunge to your heart's content, as we say, at the Champion Simulcasting Room in just an absolutely gorgeous atmosphere. And then on top of that, you have the poker room and all kinds of special events. Great food and drink all over the place. A wide variety of stuff as well, and all at really, really reasonable prices. It's probably cheaper to eat there than it is to go to the grocery store and make something yourself. And you're getting top-notch stuff and all extremely well prepared. And that's what it's all about at Hialeah Park. Check it out for yourself. Clear your social calendar. Make your plans to have a good time and experience the ultimate entertainment destination here in South Florida. You could say it's Vizcaya or, Key Biscayne, all of this stuff, South Beach. Hialeah Park, the ultimate destination here for entertainment in South Florida, is beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, back in a moment. I'm Jeff DeForest. He's Mike Lubie Lubitz. It's the Defo Show on South Florida Live. A Degenerate Friday. Happy Friday, all of you degenerate losers out there. We love you, and we're one of you. We're among you, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:29.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Young blood in the announcing booth. It's a possibility. They've gone with the hot chick theory, which, works for me, as they say.
Of course.
Yeah.
When I go down to Miami, that's all I do is I put the weather on. I shut off the sound. It's awesome.
Yeah, it could be snowing outside. You don't care. You don't want to hear what the
Who
person has to say.
It's now time for the Defo Show. Welcome back to the
All right, that may be a very appropriate tune there, Albert Castillo. By the way, happy birthday to Albert Castillo. His birthday today. The great Albert Castillo, who is touring the country and touring the world now while playing his music. Just absolutely fantastic. Went through a rough period there. All musicians did. A lot of people in the service business during COVID-19. They weren't paying guys to go out there and play the guitar. But world-class guitar player and great friend. Big fans of the show, Albert Castillo. And I'm not sure how deeply into the show his band is, as they've gone through some changes. But Albert's certainly a giant sports fan, and happy birthday to one of the greats customizing music for this program, and is somewhere out west right now. I know he was playing in the Los Angeles area the last couple of days, and he's scheduled on all kinds of tours and all kinds of things coming up. So if you're a fan of Albert Castillo and you catch a little bit of what he does on the show here, I don't know if it really brings it across in its full splendor, but happy birthday to one of the really, really great guys and a tremendous musician, self-taught guitar player, Albert Castillo. was a big part of our thoughts here on the program. Now, this guy, well, we met him, and it was one of those deals where almost like we were set up on a dating site by Mike Nyman, who at the time was the marketing director at Gulfstream Park. Always been a great friend, a lifelong friend, Mike Nyman. And he said, you know what, you're really going to dig this guy. I really like him. He does some stuff out of Palm Beach, the Greek. And I'm like, Greek, what the hell? So sure enough, we meet the guy, and it turns out, I mean, as advertised, man, one of the unique and unusual people that you'll ever come across in your lifetime who just always seems to have it going on. And he's doing a great job right now. Somehow he got himself out. Now, while we were getting canned by the radio station, 940 Wins, he also lost a position there. But because he was so deeply immersed in the West Palm Beach radio culture, I think they named the station after him. He now has 1230 used to be the Zone. Now it's the Gambler. And who's the featured performer on there? The one local guy, our good friend, the Greek, who joins us right now. Greek, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you, buddy? You and Lou? Great Friday. How's everybody?
Good morning, great one.
Well, we couldn't be any better, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show here on South Florida Live, a channel that Lubie created in the middle of the night, much to my surprise, and said, oh, by the way, we're going in another direction. Yeah.
He's on it.
What do you think, Greek?
One of my buddies, I think it's great. One of my buddies saw it in Secaucus, New Jersey at a White Castle. He was watching it and they had it on. So you never know you're going to pop up.
Yeah. Well, we were always big with people who were incarcerated, shut-ins, and blind people. We're always, a big part of our demographic when we were on the radio because, the program director is usually trying to find some negative. And they say, well, look at this. You're getting a 0 here in men 25 to 54. And we said, no, but look at this. 90-plus mutant pygmies, number 1. Incredible. All right, how's it going? Well, what's the story on this new radio station, The Gambler? I love the, just a new image that this station presents. What's the scoop on that, Greek?
1230 Gambler is the VEASAN network out of Las Vegas, Brett Musburger's project that's worked out well. It's sports betting all day long, and then 3 to 5, we do the Greek Zone, the same show basically I did at 940 Wins with you guys, when I was down there for years. I have handicappers on every day, and it's all sports betting, and no matter what sport it is, football, basketball, baseball, UFC, golf. That's all they do is talk about the trends, the money, what's going on. Obviously, right now, a lot of preseason football because people were jacked up, wanted some football in their lives. We got it all weekend, which is good. And that's what it's about. It's just sports betting. Sports betting is getting bigger and bigger. Massachusetts just got it last week. Unfortunately for us, we don't have it down here, but, hopefully in the future. But there's such a big market for it, especially with the young demographic, and they're looking for information. And this station gives it to them 24 hours a day.
You're more of a trend guy than I tend to be also. I mean, you dive into this numerology.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Lawrence, of course, one of our great handicappers, is all about trends and tracking these sort of things. The history of the numerology from the past. I tend to think, hey, you know what? I like the Chiefs tonight more so than studying whether they've lost 17 out of 20 in this spot. Musburger has done a good job with this, although. Is Action Sports associated with Vegas Sports Information Network, or are they two separate entities, Greek? Do you know?
I think it's true. I'm not 100% sure. I know VEASAN is on their own, but I don't know if anybody else is with them, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, because my New York Post used to carry Vegas Sports. I was going to say the Post used to carry Vegas Sports Information Network, and they don't anymore. They have Action Sports, and we were calling it the Brett Musburger Bury America campaign because they had a guy doing baseball that was horrendous. I mean, brilliant in his logic. I mean, we come up with all of these things, and you would say, my God, how could the Cincinnati Reds lose tonight? And then you get the score the next day, and they drop one to the Tigers 12-1. And you're like, what happened to all of this wisdom, this logic? I'm glad you're doing well, Greek, and it sounds like a great concept. Was that your idea? Did you push that to iHeart? Because I know you have influence there to change the station to The Gambler.
I was talking about it when I was with you guys years ago about sports betting. I think when Florida didn't get it, that obviously wasn't a good thing, because I think if they got it, it would help. But I just think it's a trend with young demographics that the younger kids want to bet constantly, fantasy, this, on their phones, and they're looking for, obviously they're looking for places to do it.
All right. I'm glad you're a
Sounds
part of
good.
it. I don't know. We would have never fit in with the station that was all about gambling. I know that. So
Never.
I would have made a call. You know that. Louie's bringing out the Red Hot Chili Peppers next week, so I would have made something happen for us.
yeah, who's that guy? Right. Do you know this Rob Miller cat who thought it would be a good idea? Why don't we just put the Brady Quinn show on instead of these guys? Which I hear Quinn is killing it all over South Florida. Everywhere I go, people are talking about their great Brady Quinn show. Hey, you're Defo. You used to be on the radio, man. I tell you what, this Brady Quinn is killing it there every morning. I never turn off the program. I listen to all 4 hours. No, you're not hearing a whole lot of that. All right. How you been doing? I mean, are you back to sending it in? Are you just living vicariously through others? Or are you making mind bets? How are you satisfying, obviously, a deep-rooted degenerate gene that I don't know if it came from your parents or what, how far back in your ancestry we have to go. But are you sending it in, Greek, or are you just...
I'm involved in the Circa sports betting contest for $3 million. I have sponsors who pay my entrance fee, 2 different guys. I'm doing that. And you never know. I mean, I might get back into it this year. I might.
Thank you, God.
Wait,
I have to thank my Savior and my Lord Jesus Christ here. You brought the Greek back to life. Thank you so much. Wow, that is very encouraging, Greek. I'm happy to hear this. Talk about a celebration. You're going to be sending it in again? Thank you. I mean, this is so great. I'm overwhelmed here. I don't even know if I can continue the segment.
I didn't say definite. I said maybe. I'm starting to get a little bit of the itch. I got to be honest.
Lubie, go into a break. I have to go, outside and scream hallelujah.
I know.
This is fantastic, Greek. It's good to hear. All right, I would imagine your desire to start putting your own cash up and getting involved in gambling again, which you quit for a good reason. You were going through some emotional duress. I understand. We say this all the time. Don't gamble when you're mad. It's the worst time to gamble.
Yeah.
It's like eating when you're upset. You just don't want to do it. You're shoveling a knish in your face, and you're thinking, "Why am I eating? I'm not even hungry." And so gambling while you're angry is not a good thing. But is this fueled? Is this desire to return by a newfound inner peace that you have experienced, and or the fact that you're winning at a 70% clip right here on the show?
I think it's more boredom. Nothing going on. And to be honest with you, it was such a big part of my life for years. And so when you take that out, there's a lot of empty time. So I think that's part of it. And I'm not good with free time. We all know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited about football like everybody else. I love college too, and we'll see what happens. I mean, you got the Dolphins playing Tampa Bay this weekend. I like Miami. I think they beat them. You were talking about the Chiefs game. How are the Bears giving the Chiefs? I don't care what month of the year it is, 3.5. That's weird to me. And one trend I could give you, and Ravens last night, they won again. I went against them. They've won 21 in a row. Unbelievable. But anytime a team's given 7 points or more, they're like 90% that they don't cover. So if you get anybody in preseason giving 7 points, bet on the underdogs. That's one trend I can give you.
Well, and you don't see a lot of big lines, though. I'm looking at the point spreads for tonight. They're very modest. I mean, essentially, it's like the odds makers just said, listen, we have a stack of pick'em games here, but we have to do something with them. We don't want to make them all pick'em. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 games that are 1.5 points or less in terms of the point spread, and the other game's at 2 and a hook, and that's the 49ers and the Packers. Now, I mean, what is the single most fundamental thing that you look at? A lot of people study coaches in the preseason, and you told us that you like betting preseason. In fact, what I love about you, Greek, is you like betting preseason, and like the rest of us, you don't want to watch the whole game, so you'll bet like the over-under in the first quarter. And it's 3 and a hook, and you're like, what is this guy doing? I mean, how crazy? Does he have access to Trump's secret nuclear weapon documents? where and he's involved in the selling of secrets to Saudi Arabia. I mean, what kind of information do you have that you can make a pick on? But what is your fundamental go-to guy thing? Yeah.
I look at quarterbacks who's got a hotter wife. I do a lot of studying. And then I just throw it in. That's it. I was at Caesars one time years ago, and I'm sitting there at the sports book, and this guy comes up to me, older guy, nice. And he goes, I got 10 minutes. My wife's getting her hair done. We're going out. He goes, you bet preseason? I go, yeah. He goes, why? It's crazy. He says, it's not even interesting. I slipped over my ticket, what I had on this game. He looked at it. He goes, that's interesting. That's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. I always got it. I always liked it. I got it for Teddy Covers, my good buddy in Vegas. And we usually had, successful years, 65%, 70%. No parlays or anything like that. But, we'll see what happens. I mean, good fun. But there are a lot of coaches that'll say what they're actually going to do. Like they'll say, we're just going to run. We're not playing the defense. We're going to work on the passing game. And they're pretty transparent that that's exactly what they do.
Well, I guess, I'm looking at it last night because I'm always trying to, I'm starting doing a little reverse handicapping, trying to figure out, what insane person would be betting on this and based on what. and you could make a case about especially backup quarterbacks, like number 2 quarterbacks early in the preseason, like who has the better number 2 or more legit number 2 quarterback, because that's usually, those are usually 2 people that have a big influence on the game because they play like half the game. And, you can see a distinct advantage. You were looking last night at what Tyrod Taylor, I guess, is now the backup with the Giants. And, there'll be, 3 games into the season before the Giant fans and the New York press is screaming, hey, why are we playing Taylor instead of this Daniel Jones? He sucks. So, you might have been able to make a case that he was going to go out there and have a strong performance in the ball game, although it ended up, I guess, being decided more by third-string quarterbacks than even the second-tier guys. All right, and are you looking at the slate tonight, Greek? I mean, what do you have for us?
Well, I like Miami tomorrow night, to be honest with you. Laying 1 against Tampa. There's also a trend when the team plays the second game against a team who's not played. So the Jaguars and Raiders this weekend might be something. Jaguars are giving Cleveland. Now, Cleveland said they're playing Watson, and that's what everybody's talking about, but I don't think he's going to be in there long. But I really I like the Dolphins. I would say Saturday night more. And what else would I say? I like the Dolphins, and the Bear line is weird. Why are the Bears giving the Chiefs 3? I'd probably go with the Bears and the Dolphins.
All right. Dolphins 1 point over the Buccaneers on the road. Tom Brady not even going to be in the city of Tampa, as he's been excused. Speaking of hot babes, I think Giselle was an influence there, and said, I don't want my Tommy getting hurt in the preseason, and Todd Bowles having zero power to influence Tom Brady after he got rid of Arians. We saw what happened there. Bowles happy to get another chance to be a head coach again. Probably not going to go in any kind of contrast or conflict with Brady. So he's not going to be there. What do you think now? Now, do you go by the Mike McDaniel needs to establish a winning attitude approach, or is any of that a factor?
Yeah, 10 new coaches in the NFL. They want to get a win wherever they could. It helps them take the juice off them with the press and the media and the ownership. So I think it helps. I mean, it's not the end of the world if they lose, but you like to set a winning, attitude like you guys do every day in the morning. Listen to you guys. You feel like you can take the world on.
Yes.
Like an oncoming truck.
I heard
you're talking about.
I heard your show is number 1 in Ukraine, by the way.
That's about right.
Yeah, I mean they're under military attack right now. That's where we're big. We're big in these kind of situations where, that there's unfortunately a lot of ugliness and troubling circumstances. Yeah, but All right. Now, what are you doing for entertainment, Greek? Anything out there? Any news on that front?
Yeah, seeing a couple girls, nothing crazy.
Ooh.
A little bit out of my demo. Still a little bit out of my demo. A little younger, but that's all right. I'm rolling with it.
Do you go by my theory?
He's going to follow Defoe's rule. Go on.
Do you follow the rule here? And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but we were talking about it the other day on a show. In determining what is the youngest age of a woman that you should be in, a viable and justifiable relationship with, you should take your age and divide it in half and then add 7 years. So, like in my case, 42 and a hook is the number right now that I should be looking at. And that would be it. If I'm dating like a 38-year-old, I'm robbing the cradle. I don't know. And I believe this theory holds true. That if you study this throughout life, relationships in general, if there was a way to accumulate and compile and make some deductions from this information, you would find that people that follow that formula have successful relationships with younger women, and people that go outside the box there usually end up getting mentally and physically and financially destroyed.
100%. Anybody who doesn't listen ends up on the Gaza Strip. You're on the Gaza Strip, you're handicapped in the Middle East.
Oh my God!
You're storming the beach. I'll give you one of your favorite references. You're storming the beach like you were in Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
just taking a chance that they miss everybody, you can make it all the way into the woods there finally, like you were, in the Great Escape. All right, Greek, you're going to be on 3:00 today? What's the deal? You got Sid Rosenberg still involved in your repertoire there? Your guest?
Sid's not on this week, but actually he just wrote another book that I'm in, which is interesting. So I'll probably buy the book and just take that one page out. We'll be banging around, 12:30 Gambler, and doing some stuff. But I love you guys, miss you guys. Always enjoyed my mornings with you for years on 940, you and Lubie. A lot of great time.
We love you, Greek man.
In what context are you in the book, Greek? Just out of curiosity, as a guy that was involved in some degenerate gambling scheme, womanizing. What was it? Sid?
I think he just talks about our relationship, how we met and everything. There's a couple times. He called me last week. He goes, "You're in the book twice." But Sid's doing very well out there. Doing really well in movies. He got the book coming out. He really is doing well. God bless him. Always a Sid fan. I love Sid. He's a good guy. I know a lot of people have men's and men's, but I like Sid. He was a good guy.
No, cool cat, man. I always enjoyed my relationship with Sid. And I'm glad he's doing well now. No, he's a good guy. He really is. I always enjoyed him. Very talented man with a unique, kind of skill set in a business that we love. As is the case with you, Greek. 3 to 5 today, 12:30 to Gambler. How great is that, man? That's fantastic. You finally won. Your ideas are finally taking over there in the iHeart Palm Beach. How's the radio business in general, though? Are you ready to go full bar into streaming, or you're still having a good time there?
I mean, I'm having a good time. It's good. I have no complaints. You know me.
Yeah.
I just do it. And it's just the best time of year. Once football comes, it's great for betting. You got so much to talk about, college and pro. And, our country cannot get enough of the NFL. They can put the NFL on 7 days a week, 6 o'clock in the morning, people watch it. They just can't get enough of it.
It's very true.
The betting aspect. Yeah, I mean, the betting aspect is such a big thing. And it's bigger and bigger every single day. And I think 5 years from now, forget. And the monies these corporations are paying the NFL, Roger Goodell's probably just sitting in his chair laughing his ass off. I mean, Amazon and this one all from billions of dollars. Now they're going to do a game on Black Friday next year, and that's up for bid to be streamed. So, I mean, every time you turn around, they're probably just sitting around the office going, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a game Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. We'll call it Taco Tuesday. Okay, let's do it." And then they get somebody like Chipotle, give them $35 billion. But it works. And it works because our country loves football.
It's kind of like when the Dolphins used to call, they always seemed to be dealing with Philadelphia when Andy Reid was the coach. And imagine Andy Reid probably called everybody into his office and put on the speakerphone when he said, "Hey, it's the Dolphins calling. They want A.J. Feely. Watch this." And then he would say, "I need 9 draft picks and your 3 best players." And they would go ahead and sign off on it. Who was it? Rick Spielman was the general manager at the time. And later, as bozoic as these trades were, really, that is as lopsided. Most of those deals were as lopsided as the Brittany Griner for Victor Boot deal that they're trying to orchestrate there on the political front. But, I mean, imagine a basketball player for the Merchant of Death. You're going to exchange prisoners? Nuts. Some weed-smoking basketball player versus the Merchant of Death. Think about the magnitude of that, Greek. All right, well, we'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. So the picks officially are what? Dolphins, Raiders? No, wait. Dolphins, Jaguars, and who else?
Are the Bears or the
Bears?
You like the Bears, okay.
The Bears, okay, because you suspect something's up because the line looks to be Fugazi. I like that. I love the Fugazi line theory. It's always, applicable and often, leads to disaster, but nonetheless. Yeah, everybody's betting on the Bears. All right, thanks, Greek. You're a great American. We love you, and thanks for joining us here. All right, the Greek, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got to get the Greek on camera, man. He's a good-looking kid.
Well, he drives into work at this time.
He's got the fedora, he's got the whole thing going on. Is that a fedora? That's not a fedora, the hat that he wears. He doesn't always wear the hat, but what is that type of hat called? Pork pie? What is that? He's got a classic. I mean, like Burt Sugar with the fedora, but what would you call that hat? Is that a pork pie hat? The kind of, no. Greek wouldn't wear something that was known as a pork pie, would he?
No.
No. The pork pie hat is usually plaid, right? And you would associate it with like a guy who was stooping for tickets at the track. It's more of a, you would have to say lower class item of clothing or garment. Would you agree with that? The pork pie hat, is that true? Or do really sophisticated people, like if you showed up at a red carpet event in Los Angeles, would people be wearing pork pie hats? No.
No clue.
At the rail at Saratoga, there's 6 guys with a pork pie hat. All right, we're coming back. The professor going to join us. The big board coming up. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, going to be with us here on the show. Preseason football. Last night, John Harbaugh's 21 straight wins in the preseason. Obviously, light years ahead of everybody else in terms of an NFL record. I mean, this is like Joey Chestnut versus the field at the Coney Island hot dog eating contest at Nathan's. 21 straight preseason games they won. That's impossible, Lubie. Unless you really care. What do you think? I mean, unless you, were concerned about winning in the preseason, how could you possibly rattle off 21 in a row? By accident?
I think it's weird. I think he does care, and I don't know why. I think it's strange.
We'll have to get with Mark Lawrence out. Mark will be joining us soon on the program. John Kajemi makes his return a week from Monday on the show. John Kajemi. I did talk to Tommy Fox, by the way, Lubie. You'll be appeased to know that it's happening. So it's all good with Jimmy Johnson's big chill.
Beating the crap out of me.
A deal's not a deal until it's a deal. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, we never shook on it. We never shook on it. All right, speaking of shaking, man, a lot of people are shaking because they don't know if they're going to be targets and or subjects of the professor's big board of various things. And that's coming up in just a few moments. You say it's dolphin-related, Lubie? Is that the deal? Dolphin-related?
I know it's not related to his recent trip. I know he will probably get a big board on that soon, but I know it's not related to that.
I hope he dives into a little Costa Rica experience because
I don't know why.
I mean, I sat down and I had a drink, and the professor the entire time was just unveiling one sort of detail after another on this thing. All right, back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, South Florida Live. In a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:56. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Joined now by the professor, showing no symptoms, Nick Saban. How threatened do you think college football is by all of this stuff? He's not the first prominent coach or named coach to be afflicted with this.
I mean, I think how threatened we feel like this is based on how many campuses Dan Mullen's wife is going to visit.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Well, the Gators bring back Charlie Pell or something? They have a new coach this year, right? Dan Mullen, long guy.
Yeah, it's Charlie Pell.
No.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show, Degenerate Friday. And speaking of degeneracy, we have one of the kings of the, I guess you would call it, the experience, the great professor joining us here, fresh off a wonderful vacation.
Yeah, it was great.
A wonderful vacation. Why are you poking the bear?
Yeah. The professor, and I guess that's a future big board, right? The Costa Rican trip. Can we even mention it, or is there no mention to be made of it here?
We can make a trade. I'll do the big board of Costa Rica, but in trade, I get to do 3 big boards on Bill Russell. I was banned from the show's Bill Russell coverage.
You got to retire the rhetoric on Russell as well here.
It's never going to happen, Defo. Yeah. Never, ever, ever going to happen.
I would imagine will you be wearing a number 6 jersey every time that you venture into any kind of a sporting environment?
I'll be wearing a number 6 jersey every time I have to lay down some bricks for my patio.
Oh, no. That's for you, Mr. Mama.
Very appropriate, yeah.
Every time I try to throw a piece of paper in a garbage can from 4 feet away and miss wildly, I'll be wearing a number 6 jersey.
We go left-handed or right-handed hook with that.
Does it matter?
I think the man was
just like Bill Russell, I can miss with either hand.
All right, that's not even it today. You have to be, just wild with anticipation, though, because you're right around the corner from your college football season. When is the first game, by the way? Yeah.
The week before Labor Day, we have week 0, which is really a bad slate of games. And then week 1, it's a pretty good slate of games. So I'm definitely excited. I've, of course, featured Notre Dame and Ohio State, which came out with a huge number, which I'm very confused about. And then Lubie's Florida State Seminoles going to New Orleans to play LSU, which people seem to think Florida State's going to be competitive in that game. And I'm not seeing it, but we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks.
All right, it makes sense. It's kind of interesting. We used to on the radio, just have endless conversations in anticipation of, and then certainly subsequent to, the original college football rankings coming out. And it was of such a critical nature, especially when the Hurricanes were involved in the mix there, whether they were number 3 or number 5, who they'd have to leapfrog to maybe eventually make their way into the number 1 category. You almost had to go undefeated to have any chance of winning the national championship, which is essentially the case today. But, I didn't see And I didn't sense over the last many years, the absolute insanity that surrounded the original rankings coming out. Of what relevance are they, in your opinion? The college football rankings, first ones that come out before the season even starts.
I mean, I think that's the kind of thing, and there's any number of things that Nick Saban and the SEC have kind of made irrelevant. Because basically you can start with Alabama, another team from the SEC, probably the SEC West, now Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State. And you can pretty much guarantee that 4 of those are going to be will be in the top 5 with some random thrown in. And that's become pretty much an every year situation where going into it, you could take those 4 teams and pretty much guarantee 2 of them will be in the playoffs. And I don't see that going anywhere because, as Lubie would discuss with you, the recruiting has become so in, year out, kind of dull. We'll see. There's a couple of interesting situations over the next few years that we will see. Can Lincoln Riley make that Pete Carroll-like run out at USC? Certainly USC has the access to the talent. Now with the move to the Big Ten, they're going to have the access to the money and the scheduling. He's got the building pieces for a real powerhouse out there, and he's got his quarterback for at least the next 2 years to build it around. So we'll see if there's a chance for someone to make that run that Saban kind of made, where by year 3 he had Alabama in that every year powerhouse kind of category. It's probably Lincoln Riley out of USC. I think we're starting to see some cracks with Dabo Swinney in Clemson last year, and I don't know that they're going to be notably improved this year. And then, you've got the situation in the SEC where Georgia is well along its way to becoming another Alabama-type powerhouse and maybe compete with Alabama both on the recruiting scene and on the football field. So we could see some changes in the landscape. We'll see what continues to develop.
Every time you mention USC, I still see that meatball flying from Pete's Casa something. We were at this fancy restaurant. A Moderano disciple was making meatballs the size of bowling balls. And USC, I think you had a pretty heavy investment in USC that night. And they had another, just absolutely buffoon-like interception that resulted in a score. And you fired this meatball, man, and there was sauce covering a couple of members of the band that were standing in front of the television screen. It was great.
I believe that would be Matt Barkley's second year at USC and one Lane Kiffin. So, you can tell why Old Lane Train is one of my favorites over the years.
That was the best use of one of those meatballs I'd ever seen.
Probably.
He literally picks it up like he was Nolan Ryan and fires this thing.
Defo loves that story, and it never happened. I did not actually throw a meatball.
You were tempted to. If they weren't so good, you would have thrown it.
I might have said a couple of bad words, but I did not throw actually a meatball.
Oh, the place where we almost fought the band, where the band member kept yelling, "Roll Tide."
Oh, that was Fishtails.
Fishtails.
We had a big bet on LSU, and Alabama was playing LSU. This was the year they played each other in the national championship. And we had a big bet on a real bet on LSU. And for some reason, the goddamn singer was like an Alabama fan. And every song was screaming and yelling for Alabama. And yes, him, I would have thrown something at.
In the face.
That seafood bucket would have been a nice thing to dump over his head there. It was one of my favorite go-to orders at Fishtails.
If they had a brick, I would have thrown a Bill Russell-like shot at him. It probably hit the drummer.
Tying us right back to the retirement of number 6. We also nearly got tossed out of there a few times when you had discovered that Northern Illinois was always involved in an over.
Action.
And the teams from that conference, Toledo
now
and
now you're just getting to anticipation. Yeah, I can't wait for Maction to start again.
Man, that was great. And you were like on this before anybody else. It was like you found an oil well. in the middle of Pompano Beach, and it was fantastic. And then so we were naturally like yelling and screaming, watching this little screen that had the Northern Illinois Toledo game on, or
And
whatever.
everybody else was like, "What the hell is wrong with these people?"
Yeah, the band's playing, and like, shut these fucking people up, will you?
They're screaming at
Go
a
to
television.
Brews Room or something. You know what are you doing here?
It's like the middle of November. There's a driving blizzard in Toledo,
General Harnish.
and yeah, these 5 idiots are in Pompano Beach in the middle of paradise, where it's like 82 degrees and super pleasant, screaming at a television on a Thursday night on a Northern Illinois Toledo game.
Yeah, and they were scoring on every play. It was fantastic, and like the over/under was like 96, and we were already at 111. But it was every week. Every week we were cashing on that thing. It took us a while naturally to become the followers that we and the disciples of the professor's brilliance that we eventually did. But that was a good season. I'm not a big sports bettor, but that was a good season.
Speaking of every week, and by no means am I trying to rip the Greek here, because I just heard the segment as I was coming on. Did he really pick the Jaguars again? Did he not watch that game last week?
Yeah.
He didn't pick them. He didn't pick the Jags. He just thinks the teams that have played already, and we've heard this before.
Yeah, I understand the theory, but I wow. I mean,
he didn't pick them.
Did he not? Is he getting paid by the Khan family?
I think he needs a new little platform for his truck or whatever.
I watched that game last week, and very rarely have I seen a team get beat up in the preseason the way the Jacksonville Jaguars got beat up by the Raiders last week.
Well, they were very vanilla. They were very vanilla last week.
I'm just saying, what Urban Meyer did to that franchise is not pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he ruined them.
Like, I'm honestly, I'm a little surprised that Tim Tebow didn't make the roster as a tight end, because he might have actually been the second best tight end on that team. God, that team is bad.
Urban Meyer and a certain president, a very similar impact overall. And, it'll take years to recover. Let's put it that way.
I got to be honest. That's, I think, kind of unfair for a certain president. I think Urban Meyer in 1 year
he probably fucked it up more.
A lot more damage. There are positives and negatives to that president. I don't think any positive that Urban Meyer left. Or that Trevor Lawrence is off in a corner, having lost all his money in cryptocurrency, just like shaking and crying. What the hell happened to me? Everything was supposed to work out. I'm Trevor Lawrence. Like, what the hell?
They were thinking about canceling the Tournament Players Championship and moving it to another city after Urban Meyer had his brief run there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The whole area was a disgrace. I've rarely
seen a coach manage to do so much damage in only 1 year. It's really interesting.
Well, he'll be commentating with his expertise on ESPN this year. I mean, probably talking pro football with Kirk Herbstreit.
Okay. I know you mentioned it in the last segment as I was watching here. Can we talk a little bit about this Baltimore Ravens streak?
Yeah.
Like, this is the most amazing thing in the history of football gambling.
I believe so. Yes. How is it possible?
Not only is it 21 wins in a row, I believe it's like 20-1 against the spread during that streak, something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm not sure this isn't the most outstanding achievement in the history of sports.
It's right up there with the perfect season, in my opinion.
Right?
And it actually involves more games and in a more impossible situation.
You're not supposed to try.
Yeah. I mean, is the guy really out there with a mindset that winning is everything? It's the only thing? I mean, what is that?
That's the thing. You watch these games. He's not doing anything like super obvious to try. He's not like leaving his starters in for an extra drive or, playing the backup quarterback instead of the fourth team quarterback. They do all the preseason things. They just are winning time after time after time after time. It's insane.
You would think, based on that, though, that they would have more championships or be more of a factor than they have been of recent, years.
I think if they install the rule that you have to play your second and third team quarterbacks for a quarter each, like in Lubie's 6-year-old basketball league where everybody has to play. If the NFL had an everybody has to play rule, I think the Ravens would have become the dynasty very easily there. They're
Just
proving
the
it, right?
image you created of Lubie getting choked by some angry parent because little Johnny hasn't seen 1 second of playing time and
You
is
have to
about to
play.
be
Because
put
he's
down
the
as a
John
DNP coach's decision.
because he's the John Harbaugh of rec league basketball.
God.
Yeah, he was complaining about the
Gamblers
refs.
up in the stands taking bets on Lubie every week because
Well, I mean,
when it comes
that's
to,
commonplace here, though. Pop Warner football
when it
here. That
comes
was a
to-
big expose about the gambling on Pop Warner football at local games.
Yeah.
That was a big controversy
hundreds of
in
thousands
South
of
Florida.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Uncle
I
Luke.
honestly- Honestly, having a very minor amount of experience in that myself, I genuinely wish I had found the bookie who was taking those bets.
Yeah, was taking that
There is nothing easier to handicap than Pop Warner football. All you got to do
I
is
would
watch
agree.
warm up, and there's always that one kid who just jumps off the page immediately, and you just bet on the team that has that one kid because they never stop it.
In my neighborhood, it was Joey Vanana, man. If Vanana was on the team, that was it. Like 80 kids would be trying to tackle this guy, and he would be carrying them.
Exactly.
Like, sometimes you see like an insect pile just moving, and you're like, wow, how is that possible? And he would emerge then, slam the ball down. Well, that wasn't popular at the time, but, he would, signal that he had scored a touchdown. You're like, wow, that's impossible. So he was going to win every time.
Makes me wonder how somebody was making book on hundreds of thousands of dollars of bets on Pee Wee football. Because who the hell's taking the other side in that? I don't care if your own kid is the star of the other team. You don't bet against the one kid. It's
hard to lay off the
hyper
action.
obvious. Yeah.
All right, we have to get to the big board here because
it's giving money away if you do that. It's just
we have a huge agenda here today. So the big board this week, I thought you were going to go Costa Rica, but I understand the reasons why not. I mean, financial considerations.
Because I'm trying to get my money back from those filthy people.
Okay. And so that's coming up in the future.
The bottom line, and we will discuss this in the future, Costa Rica sucks. Don't go there. It's for like natives and people who like heights and all these adventure idiots who like going through the forest.
Like I'm not Nick Wallenda. I don't need to go like zip lining, get out of here with that.
Then Lubie's like, oh, well, it's because you don't like nature. I like nature, but when I go into nature, I want to kill something.
Yeah.
They have the exact opposite rule. You're not allowed to kill anything, and there are several things that can kill you instantly just running all over the place. It's amazing.
Including some of the locals, No, there's no question.
It's really less the locals and more the freaking crocodiles. There's crocodiles everywhere. Kind of civilized-ass country just lets crocodiles roam around.
Always cool to see a couple crossing the street there.
No, it's really not.
All right, let's get to the big board
like
here.
Australia, where you have to go somewhere specifically to see the crocodiles. You go to Sydney or Melbourne, you don't see freaking crocodiles just wandering around.
Walking around.
Middle of the street.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, I thought at least you'd get a fishing trip in. All right, that's for a future big board. Now we have the current big board, right? We're set to go. The Professor, Degenerate Friday, and the big board of...
Well, Defo, of course, a lot of major stories while I was gone. The Bill Russell one, of course, which you mentioned a couple times, which I just want to let everybody know. I was banned from the Bill Russell Memorial Show. I volunteered my services, and I was roundly rejected. And my feelings are still very hurt about that.
Yeah.
If anybody was an appropriate guest to have the Bill Russell Memorial Show, it's me.
Yeah, exactly.
But because somebody
it'd be like us inviting Ron DeSantis on the show. And,
somebody has to provide the counterpoint to that kind of coverage. But the other major story down here in South Florida is, of course, the suspension of Stephen Ross and the fining of the Miami Dolphins and the taking away of draft picks from the Miami Dolphins for what is it they called? Interference or tampering for the thing that literally everybody does. Because Roger Goodell and his office of morons up in New York think that somehow free agency opens at midnight and somebody signs a $70 million contract at 12:01, and that was negotiated in the 59 seconds since it's open. There was no tampering there. But Stephen Ross meets with Tom Brady's agent once, and all of a sudden, Dolphins lose their first and third round draft picks. Which is, by the way, exactly as many draft picks as the Patriots have lost for 2 decades of cheating. So, yeah, that seems balanced.
Yeah.
But we're going to discuss that. We're going to look at the big board of NFL suspensions through the years.
All right, good one. Yeah.
We'll talk about some of Roger Goodell's decisions when it comes to suspensions and relate them, of course, to Stephen Ross, who, by the way, if you haven't measured out, it comes to a 6-game personal suspension for Stephen Ross. I don't exactly know what that means. Is he not allowed in the stadium? Can he not watch the game on TV? I mean, I know he can't have contact with the club, but I don't know all the details of exactly what that means. But it turns out for a 6-game suspension. So we're going to do some comparisons here. And we're going to start with Ray Rice, suspended for 2 games for knocking his wife out in an elevator in Atlantic City.
I love you ever standing.
That sets the standard, I think.
You have him standing over
Yeah.
a woman.
2 games for Ray Rice. Now, look, I've never really been serious about Atlantic City. I know Defo's a big Atlantic City fan. I can imagine that most people have thought about knocking their wife out in an elevator in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
How much did you lose at the tables? How many times have you gone to the ATM machine? Yeah, I get it, Ray Rice. I really do. I'm not endorsing domestic violence. I'm just saying I imagine Ray Rice is not the first person who have had that thought. But of course, this was later changed after a review of the NFL, meaning that the tape got out and America was horrified. And so Roger Goodell felt like he had to extend the suspension, even though he didn't really want to. He wanted to suspend Rice for 2 games. That was for 1/3 of the suspension that Stephen Ross got for having lunch with Don Yee.
Well, there was a lot of criticism about that for sure, and a big uproar. And they've addressed it by now. If you can sexually assault 23 or 24 women that we know of, 6 games. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So they really stepped it up. that knockout, by the way, was faster than Tommy Hearns' knockout of Pepino Cuevas in one of the classic Hearns knockout fights.
Honestly, I think it was one of the
bigger
best
punch. Yeah,
the best knockout Atlantic City has seen in a fight in decades. Really,
since Gotti was in the ring. Yeah.
Right. Oh my God.
All right, that's number 5.
And you're going to say,
yeah,
Ken, we could go all day with the domestic violence stuff, and you're 100% correct. So we're not going to do any more activity off the field and discussions of these suspensions. We're just going to gut stuff that's more relevant to the situation. And I found this one that for some reason everybody's forgotten about, a little interesting. And that's number 4. You may or may not remember this, Defo. Former Cleveland Brown linebacker Michael Kendricks suspended 8 games. You remember what he was suspended 8 games for?
I don't remember Michael Kendricks.
Okay. He was suspended for 8 games for insider trading. He was arrested by the SEC. He and one of his buddies had made $1.2 million trading with the CEO of a company who he was giving football tickets to. And he was suspended for 8 games for this. So a Cleveland Brown linebacker who made $1.2 million got a harsher penalty than anybody at Lehman Brothers or Bear Stearns or anybody else in the fallout of the 2008 market collapse. The guys at Chase tried to actively bankrupt all their clients and the country with bad mortgages, but this poor bastard gets 8 games from and basically got blackballed by the league. Gets 8 games from the NFL for insider trading worth of $1.2 million. Do you think that's because the owners of the NFL were like, yeah, we don't want anybody looking at it insider trading?
Can't imagine any of that has gone on with the 32 ownerships.
You think Jimmy Haslam was like, yeah, maybe we don't want to be looking at these stocks, but let's suspend Kendricks for an extended. It gives Kendricks a bigger suspension than just about any active player in the league.
Ursay's never got a stock.
Yeah, exactly. Kraft? Are you kidding me?
Bobby. Oil, you say? Okay.
Exactly. In Houston, Bud Adams.
Bud Adams.
And what was it? Jerry Richardson with Carolina.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who I think at the time had
never got like any inside information. You don't think?
Jerry Jones.
I could be wrong, but I think I think Richardson at the time was also still big with Bank of America, who was buying Countrywide.
Exactly.
So it's okay. Jerry doesn't need any suspension. He only destroyed the American housing market. But let's get this bastard.
I had a loan with Countrywide, and I felt more comfortable the loan that we had with Eddie and Vito. The terms changed less with those two guys than they did with Countrywide.
Honestly, it's because Eddie and Vito kept better paperwork than Countrywide did.
They had it all in their heads. Yeah.
Once you signed that piece of paper with Eddie and Vito, you knew that wasn't getting lost. At Countrywide, they were just, Defo's mortgage, I think it's in the garbage can somewhere over there.
Yeah, it's never to be forgotten, though. That's for sure. All right, that's a beauty, man. Kendricks, 8 games, insider trading.
Now, this was less of a suspension than Stephen Ross got, and I think it's probably fair it's less suspension. But I got to give this one to Roger Goodell, number 3. Just the stupidest suspension probably in the history of professional sports, not just the NFL. And that's Terrell Pryor gets 5 games for getting a tattoo while he was playing for Ohio State, and the NFL decided to enforce the suspension that was passed
that was
by
a beauty,
college.
man. Yeah,
This is
you're right.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This is like if you cheat on your wife and your girlfriend makes you pay the penalty for cheating on your wife.
Yes.
Right. That's crazy.
And again, just the root issue here that they were trading Ohio State merchandise for tattoos. Why the hell shouldn't you be allowed to do that in the first place? It's your merchandise. You weren't trading it for cash. You were trading it for tattoos. And honestly, looking at it, it's not even that good of a tattoo.
What is it?
Oh, what is it?
What is it? Do we know what it is?
That's often the question with tattoos. What is that?
It's a red Ohio State O in the middle of a bunch of vines and shit. It's,
It's an ink blot test. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What does this mean?
It looks like a no.
But for some reason, Roger Goodell decided to enforce this 5-game suspension, and not only enforce it 3 more games than he gave Ray Rice for knocking out his wife in the elevator.
Among the most bizarre decisions ever made by an administration in sports.
One more game than Ben Roethlisberger got for 2 rape accusations. And of course, taking us to number 2, one more game than a certain somebody got for not only cheating, but cheating and lying in the stupidest possible fashion. And that is Tom Brady suspended for 4 games for not only deflating football, for not only getting caught deflating football, but you know how they say in crime, it's not the crime, it's cover up. Tom Brady not only tried to cover up, it was the stupidest cover up. And me and Giselle, we throw our phones out every 2 weeks because we don't want the media to hack our telephone.
Me and Giselle.
I called this guy the deflator in the text messages because he lost a bunch of weight. And of course, if I were in charge of the NFL, the issue would be a lifetime ban for hanging out with Ben Affleck. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there was a lot of speculation at the time that Tom Brady had thrown his phone away or had destroyed his cell phone because there were pictures of Ben Affleck cheating on his then wife, Jennifer Garner, with the nanny, which of course... Of course, Ben Affleck is cheating with the nanny, number 1. And number 2, of course, part of Tom Brady's cover story is that his phone contained pictures of Ben Affleck cheating with the nanny.
Why do you have the pictures?
You want to throw in a shot at Bill Russell while you're at it?
Not only would I suspend Tom Brady for life, I would do everything I could to have Tom Brady prosecuted for this.
That was great, man. You were expecting Rudy Giuliani to chime in on Brady's behalf in this thing.
Since he lives down here in Florida now, Tom Brady better hope I never become governor, because if I do, hanging out with Ben Affleck will be a felony on my first day in office. I will ramrod that home the way DeSantis ram-homed his Disney ban. I will make sure the state Senate puts anybody in prison who hangs out with Ben Affleck. Tom Brady, you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison if I ever become Florida's governor.
Has DeSantis signed that legislation yet, making being gay illegal and a punishable offense of incarceration for?
Well, look at the picture. If he does, these 2 are going away forever.
It's only a matter of time before some more restrictions are announced here if this guy wins again. All right, very. I would say you're being very fair, very diplomatic so far. in
Okay.
all of your choices, Professor. I'm really digging this big board.
And number
that's Brady.
one,
4 games at number 2.
Number one, the Dolphins find millions, $1.5 million, which, again, I don't care about the $1.5 million. That's like Stephen Ross's tipping money.
Yeah.
And lost a first and third round draft pick. And Stephen Ross personally suspended for 6 games.
Yes. Oh, I know this one.
All of which.
Yeah, number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I really do. And the speculation, of course, is that this isn't really about the Dolphins tampering. It's really about the Dolphins getting the league sued by Brian Flores, and the league can't admit to any wrongdoing in the Brian Flores case because it's not just the Dolphins being sued; it's everybody being sued.
Yes.
But that this is sort of a backdoor punishment for what the Miami Dolphins did with Brian Flores. I'd like to point out, for number one, that Robert Kraft is a sex offender.
Yeah, the picture of the women.
Has been cheating for 20 years and has been suspended for 0 games over the years.
I thought you would have a police picture of him coming out, one of those grainy black and whites of him coming out of the spa.
I love the
You might have gone somewhere and purchased.
If you go onto one of those sex offender websites, there are now red dots in Palm Beach, not just because of Jeffrey Epstein, but also because of Bob Kraft.
Wow.
And
yeah.
0 games from the NFL. Really? Yeah, ask Brian Flores to throw a game, and that's like the worst thing in the history of. And you're not even saying throw the games; you're saying have a loser roster, so we lose games. So you're not, technically throwing games; you're just tanking, and that's the worst thing in the history of the world. But 20 years of cheating and a sex offense isn't that bad?
It is curious that
Someone
nothing was made of
please
this.
explain that to me.
Yeah. No, it's subject that really needs to be addressed.
And
no
I'm
doubt.
sorry, we do have the pictures of the 2 women on the right. When
Yeah.
you're a billionaire and for your needs, you are spending $59 in a day spa with these 2 women.
I rest my case. Yeah, I rest my case.
If that doesn't show you that this man has some deep-rooted issues.
Damon says rub and tug, 0 games. Rub and tug, 0
But it
games.
was worse. It was in the middle of a sex sting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an
Number
FBI
one.
investigation.
Number one.
He's in the middle of
For
it.
those who, for those who haven't read the Vanity Fair article, it wasn't just a rub and tug. There were other acts involved, and it was repeated offenses.
Yeah.
So yeah, not limited to that particular action.
Not many others were getting on their private jet, I wouldn't think.
Right, to fly to some
Flying
big
to a
spot on
NFL
Jupiter.
game right after that. Yeah. How was your flight?
Spend 50 grand to fly down to Jupiter and get a $59 blowjob. In Asian
They couldn't have found a
spot.
$5,000 hooker from Vegas that could fly
That's
with
what
them on a
offends
private
me.
jet.
You can. That's what offends me. This is like being able to afford Wagyu beef, and going to the Sizzler for your steak dinners. I'm not offended by the act. I'm offended by your complete lack of taste. That's what's offensive to me. That's your sex offense right there.
Yeah. Seems kind of cheesy, doesn't it? I mean, it really does reek of cheesiness all the way.
What the hell is the point of being a billionaire if when you want to go have illicit sex, you have the equivalent of a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese?
Which he is not a part of, Bob Kraft. A lot of people think that
not.
he's like
No, they're
Kraft
not.
Foods. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not associate the fine people at Kraft Foods.
Yeah, exactly.
With this Kraft.
Cheating sex offender,
This
Bob.
seedy, yeah. I mean, and it's always weird when somebody gets caught in a sting where, it essentially had nothing to do with them, but there he is walking out. And imagine the cops are in the car there going, "Isn't that the guy with the blue shirt and the white collar that's always at the Patriot games?"
Isn't that Kraft?
It's like, holy
Again,
shit, it's him.
20 years of
Woods.
cheating and sex offenses, 0 games.
Yeah.
Stephen Ross sends text messages to Don Yee, 6 games, and the same amount of draft picks. Make it
Brilliant.
make sense to me, Roger Goodell, because quite frankly, your decision making has not been solid over the years.
Brilliant as always, Professor.
The
All
man.
right, yeah.
We'll see you later today. He's coming today. He's going to come to the Tom
Are
T
you
experience.
coming up, Tom's Louisiana Kitchen, 12
There's
o'clock?
no way he's missing New Orleans Fair.
Yeah. You have to
Alright.
be there. Yeah,
No,
no,
we'll
I
get him
will
on
100% be there.
We'll get him on the
that's a
show.
commitment.
You'll be fun.
All right, sounds good, my friend.
See
All
you,
right,
Dave.
the professor at the big
Good man.
board could be making another special appearance on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox also. As,
Yeah,
he would be very well equipped and qualified
Yep.
to, talk about the Tom's Louisiana Kitchen fanfare that we're going to have later on today. Now, I don't know how much of the public we can invite, Louie, because I'm a little nervous about this.
Look,
The
Tom
the
himself.
stuff appears to be so sensational that, I mean, if the invitation is open, I would come. For sure.
Tom
I mean, I'm
himself
going.
is-
Me, you know I don't like to schlep.
I
As soon as
know.
I heard about this, it was like,
I mean,
Point
you're all
Beach.
right. We could ride together, to be brutally honest. We don't have to do this on the air, but I'm meeting with Ken. We could just ride together. But besides that, Tom put it on his Facebook. Tom said,
Yeah.
come out, support. I was like, all right. That was your
Wow,
man.
wow. You know how these people are.
I know.
I mean, we love you guys, but, if you're like us, if it's free, it's me, man.
They got the snort thing. Like if Andy wasn't in a hospital bed, he probably would be there.
I think he's out. He got
I know,
sprung,
I know.
Andy.
He's doing okay.
I'm not
But I was-
sure that this wouldn't send him back there, though. The
Yeah, I
grilled
don't think so.
oysters with the, I mean, they put a
Yeah,
little oil in there and the
touffees,
Parmesan
yeah.
cheese. I'm going to be heading back to New Orleans on a Degenerate freebie next Friday, actually.
Mhm.
So I'll inform you about that on the air here,
Thank
Lubie.
you.
But
Thank you.
too good to turn down, right? Mustang gets a call. Hey, see, it's your birthday, huh? I hear it's your birthday. And casino host says, why don't you hop a plane and come to New Orleans? Like, what plane? Like, and they got us like some kind of a flight. Although this will be my first experience with the chaos that is non-assigned seating on Southwest Airlines. What do you end up like with one person in the front and the other one stuck in the back there in the middle seat on the last row where you can't do anything? It's like, you sure these seats were assembled correctly? Miss, is it insulting to say no? I mean, what would you do? You'd have to get the name tag, and say, Carol, is there something wrong here? I mean, my knees are in my Adam's apple. All right, we're coming back with the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo. Speaking of Mike Mayo, he's coming up here in just a few moments. So you guys had a wonderful experience yesterday. Nikki Mohan involved there, a very distinguished Channel 10 news person who's now involved in a lot of this cultural stuff that is being promoted by Broward County and governmental organizations that are doing good things, which, talk about brilliance. How about Mayo tapping into that? So we'll be back with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, here in a moment. Now that. Brilliant on his part. It's 8:34.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
All right, so
Here's
you
my
have the
poem.
poem. Let's do it. Roses are red, violets are blue. I got DQ'd from the late double. Sorry, no champagne or caviar for you.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show, Degenerate Friday, and we just keep rolling out the hits when it comes to various degenerates that are in our circle of people that we have on the program here. Jeff DeForest, we got Mike Lubitz, and Wow, an odd silhouette kind of look here for Mike Mayo.
Some new light or something.
The Gambling Gourmet. Are you being lit by candle? Is this like some of the TV stations I worked at San Bernardino? I remember I started my career at Selkirk Cable here, which was a local cable company, and they did a boxing match that was kind of lit just like that there.
Good morning. What you are seeing here, gentlemen, is a healthy glow because
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice.
I got my road work in because I know we're in for a very big eating day.
Oh, yeah.
And, I got slaughtered. We got slaughtered. You weren't there for Defo yesterday, but with the Visit Lauderdale, Nicky Mohan, Lubie, and I at the Neron's Kitchen. Vatsana just kept bringing out. It was like it was like a running joke. It was like, okay, that's enough. No mas. We were doing the Roberto Duran. It was just a whole spread of that Lao cuisine, the Laos, and again, it was different and distinct from Thai food. It was all delicious, but man, it just kept coming. And then we loaded up on the boxes, and that was like on the lighter side, kind of not very heavy sauces. It's kind of minced meat with some spices and herbs and kind of that kind of Southeast Asian cuisine. You don't see a lot of chubby Southeast Asians or Laos,
because they do a lot of walking. They do a lot of walking.
And
I'm proud of you. You did it again today.
Yeah, so that's
already
why you're seeing the healthy glow.
Oh, wow.
And this is okay. Talk about laying odds. I don't know what the odds on this parlay would be. So because I know we got the big eating in store today later at Tom's Louisiana Kitchen
That's in Nobo Brewery.
Nobo Brewing Company in Boynton Beach. It's right off 95, the Gateway Boulevard exit. There's a little warehouse district. Just they have this thing called
which way do you go, right or left?
Google Maps.
You get off 95.
Well, it
East?
depends which way. If you're coming up north, you're gonna make a left on Gateway, make your first right. Then you go up and make another right, and then it's another right, then a left.
Right.
You'll find it. GPS, wonderful thing. All right. So here's the parlay. What would the odds on this be, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Walk of life of 3.2 miles.
All right, good one.
Good for you.
Miles.
Yeah.
Good for
I
you.
got in that 1 hour.
Does that one also give you your sperm count? Because I always love that when they have all of these various measurements. I literally measure these distances with my car. I still do that.
I got my walking asymmetry, step length, double support time, but no sperm count in here.
No sperm count there.
I want to hear about it. But then, okay, so you follow that. What are the odds that then I would almost be late? Because I finished up the walk and then I had to prepare myself a breakfast. And my breakfast is, look at this, gentlemen, fruit salad. We've got grapes. We've got cherries.
What happened to you, man?
You freaked them out. You're like scaring them.
Oh, my God.
So now I got some beautiful, luscious,
I feel like Dr.
organic
strawberry on CBS. I mean, all of a sudden.
Is it 12? How many sandwiches have you
yeah.
eaten? Is it 10? Are you on like
11?
The other day on Mike Mayo's lunchbox, he ate two what would be considered hoagie sandwiches, I guess, and they were like hot hoagies with chicken parmesan, like a giant piece from the pizza spot, and then a huge, heavily salted meatball parmesan sub, which would be any cardiologist's worst nightmare to have to track what the hell happened to you and trace it back to the pizza spot. Unbelievable. But now all of a sudden you've had some kind of epiphany, and that's great, Mike Mayo. We're happy to see this. Are you washing it down with a bourbon? What is that?
No, it's my grumpy mug. I got my good fresh brewed black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
All right.
And, this is what happens.
You're like the guy that eats 5 hot dogs and then goes has a Diet Coke. I mean,
no
sugar,
in the morning.
No cream. Whoa.
You see, the good Michael, the Gambling Gourmet is a healthy eater because I'm so distracted with the wagering lines. And then when I turn into Lunchbox Mike Mayo, the ugly beast emerges and I start shoving food.
What you'll be doing today, I would think.
Oh my God!
This guy's going crazy now. Now, how much of the general public can we invite there? I mean, Tom T's serious about this, but
here's the thing.
It scares me a little bit if too many people show up. It really does.
Here's the thing I don't get. Well, so first of all, Tom T. Tanazzini, thank you very much. He's hosting the Lunchbox today. He made a big deal of it too. He volunteered to prepare. Some of his greatest hits. He has this food truck and kitchen that it's a roving thing, but most of the time he's set up at this Nobo Brewing up in Boynton. And he loves his Cajun and Louisiana food. He's originally from South Florida, but he spent a lot of time working in kitchens there, I think, including at Emerald's. We'll get the full lowdown from him later. But he's also having a kind of a multi-course, like upscale dinner that at a restaurant in Lake Worth later this month. So I'm sure we'll be talking to him about that. But he just figured, hey, we've been doing this road show and it's working out really well. I mean, it looks good, and we got the headsets going now. So he was like, hey, why not? Let's get a little a show going up there. So he invited us, and he told us, hey, bring some family and friends. So I'd love to see the professor up there. I don't know if Jess can make it.
He's
That's awesome. And Sarney, he doesn't know if he can make it or not, but that kind of group. But then when he put it on his personal Facebook page, and he has lots of friends and people who've gotten to be customers and friends, I don't know if this is a full-scale freebie, or if maybe like he's going to be selling some things to the general public. I'm not going to ask. All I'm going to do is I'm going to show up. Lubie's going to have the whole mixing board and the headphones set up, and whatever gets put in front of me, I'll eat, and then I'll throw down a 20 at the end for help. To just take care of whoever has to clean up and do all the busting.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. I am heading back to New Orleans on a freebie, a degenerate freebie, a week from today. But it's a 6 a.m. flight, which leaves you in a real predicament.
Yeah, because what else is there to do?
What the hell is there to do there at 6 a.m? Nothing. All right. You get there at 7.
That's exactly it, Lubie. I was going to tell him, you go to Cafe du Monde at 6 a.m. and there's like crickets. The tourists don't really wake up.
No, there's a line down the block at all times at that place.
Not
I
true.
passed by there many times when I was there the last time, and always a big line. And I always think, you stupid bastards. I mean, what are you waiting for? You can walk right down the street here and get something better for less money and not have to wait a split second. Yeah.
It goes fast.
There's only the one and only original Cafe du Monde, except no substitutes. You can go there at 1 in the morning. I've been there at 6 in the morning. There's no line, and it's
really so funny how hypocritical you are. I mean, because you're always the minute somebody mentions a place like Acme, you're like, tourist city. My God, I mean,
I don't hate.
Trump would go there, and then the biggest tourist trap that doesn't deliver anything other than what you could find almost anywhere else in town is the Cafe du Monde in New Orleans. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded, my friend.
I don't mind touristy places if they excel at what they do. I love Joe's Stone Crab. That's touristy, but it's classic and it's great at what it does.
It's local, though. Yeah.
Cafe du Monde. I happen to think when you get a fresh batch of those, beignets, and you get the powdered sugar that looks like mountains of cocaine from 1980s Miami, there's no beating it. You might say, you can get it the same thing down the block. You can't. I mean, Cafe du Monde is a classic for a reason. The original Cafe du Monde. So I go there even though it's touristy because it's good. Acme, okay, it's touristy and it's like, okay, I can find better grilled oysters in New Orleans and in more funky, places that I like.
You know what? Take that up with Tommy T today, because he's going to put you in your place, Mayo, with your sanctimonious anti-tourist campaign. Unbelievable.
Hey, can I go back?
You're like the Texas governor sending these migrants to New York. I mean, anything that involves a tourist, you don't want any part of.
That's not fair. Don't ever equate me with a GOP governor, please. Please. That's hitting below the belt.
What did you think? I mean, did you follow that thread at all? My Trump Naked and Afraid Mar-a-Lago, which I didn't say anything about it. I gave no comment, and yet it still came under attack from these right-wing radicals. It was amazing to me. How much hate mail did you get when you were writing these editorials? As we understand and appreciate, as a very liberal-minded human being, in the Sun Sentinel, which I guess if you were going to do it anywhere, Broward County would be the place, which is
kind of a safe
largely
space
Democratic.
But it's also strange the way things have changed, where it used to be the older retirees from New York would come down and they were all, liberal ex-union people. But as soon as Fox News started taking hold, all these older, formerly Democrat, liberal retirees from New York became raging conservatives because they just their brains, I guess, are easily swayed.
I want to hang on to my money. I want to hang on to what I got.
Right. And the fear factor. So anyway, Broward and Palm Beach have become much more conservative in terms of dealing with hate mail and stuff like that. Look, there was a reason that I switched to food in June of 2016, right
Yes.
when certain events
Oh,
were
yeah.
happening and certain people were ascending to the Republican nomination. It was right and I almost got arrested at a Trump rally in West Boca, and that to me, with the writing was on the wall, and I said, I don't want to be part of this anymore. I'm going to go eat, and here I am.
Oh, that was a brilliant
That was a great
transition.
move.
Possibly,
We're
I
grateful.
mean,
So grateful for the move.
we're happy to be drafting in at whatever level in your footsteps here. As you pave the way through the culinary world for us with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox every day. It's fantastic.
Now, can I just give one note? I made a mistake today on the walk of life. I was getting close to airtime, and I wanted to get back, and you could see I'm a little schwitzy, and because I basically broke into a mild trot jog for the last I'd say about half mile.
Is it
and
time to
it's
buy
good.
a racket? Are you going to buy a tennis racket?
It got the heart rate up. It definitely got me a little schwitzy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it's the biggest tactical error I've made since those potato rolls during the hot dog eating contest on the Lunchbox. That was
No, you don't want to be running, and you don't want to be running on cement anymore. I mean,
I felt I felt the Achilles get a little bit hanky. I was like, I don't.
You don't need it. I mean, you know what? The walking's okay. Just stick with that. It doesn't even matter how slowly you go. This is our Jack LaLanne moment here on the show, and
double
it's
cherries.
good. But
hey, do you see anything?
I'm glad you're sticking with it. Yeah.
Slot machines. Is this what Sally sees when she plays the slots?
Not
The
anymore.
rows of cherries?
No.
don't have the
A friend of
slot.
ours hit for 8 dimes, Big Rich, on a video poker machine the other night. The guy's playing $10 a pull on video poker, which, you can be separated from your capital very quickly at $1.25 a shot, which it is if you're playing quarters, which I do. But $10 a pull, that's too rich for my blood. I don't know about you, Mike Mayo.
How much did he invest to get that 8 dimes?
He said he hit it on the third pull. He has uncanny luck at hitting very early on slot machine play.
The third pull that session. How many sessions were that week before the 8 dimes?
I don't know.
They never say.
You're thinking, look, if you could lose $50 in a machine in about 15 minutes, even while you're hitting a few hands at $1.25 a throw. 8 times that. All of a sudden, you're out 400 in like 15 minutes. It would be easy to lose. There's a reason that they give you the kind of phenomenal payoff if you happen to hit this miracle and end up with the royal flush, which he did for $8,000. Nice hit on a slot machine. Now, would that ruin you for life? You think? Chasing that same cocaine high again?
I don't.
Or do
I
you
don't
just
play
feel
slots.
like you're so far ahead that you can spend whatever? Where does that leave you in the mathematical equation of degeneracy?
No, it's always haunting when not haunting. It's you want to when you have a big score, you want to repeat it over and over. That's the whole problem. Now, but I heard a horror story the other day from my buddy Willie, who one of the poker gang, and he was up in he was playing. I guess he was visiting some family up in Delray. What's it called? Daytona, the place with the racetrack. But they have a card room, poker room there, and they also have some of these table games set up. And he said he was that where you could play match the dealer or some, I don't know. It's like one of these poker games where if you get a special bonus, but you have to put in the $5 chip to get the bonus.
Oh yeah, okay.
The bonus. Right. I guess it was 3-card poker or whatever one of those goofy games.
Yeah.
He did not put down the bonus every time. He actually didn't do it at all. And, he said he ended up saving himself like $160 because he played however many hands. One of the hands he got was a royal. He would have gotten, he said, I think it was $12,000.
Oh, well, that's a low payoff on that. Those jackpots, those progressive jackpots on the royal flush on those kind of games, like in Atlantic City, were seemingly always in excess of 120, 150,000.
That would be something.
Orleans,
no, they're because it's Daytona.
Yeah.
I guess they don't have the biggest jackpots, but still, if you miss out on $12,
you may as well go right outside there and find the tallest building and jump off the top.
No, what they do there is they go into the middle of the Daytona Speedway and lay down until someone comes over and just runs.
Wait for a race. Yeah, exactly. No, and that. Killer of that particular bet because they upped it from like $1 to $5 in recent years. In the last couple of years, I would say you don't ever see that bonus at $1 anymore. It's always a $5 play.
To me, I think that's silly. I think you get more play. Everybody says, "Hey, yeah, what's $1?" You can keep doing it.
Well, it's a
is
grind
like
down. Yeah, it's never favorable to the player. But I will say this: that the times that I haven't gone with the $5 bonus, and the other side of that thinking is, listen, what if it happened, right? They deal you ace, king, queen of a certain suit. You're playing like let it ride. They're going to lay down 2 more cards, and they happen to flop the 2 you need. And you were looking at like I think the last time I was in Atlantic City, it might have been in excess of $250,000.
Jesus.
The progressive jackpot. All right, so that's a life-changing score or a semi-life-changing score. But certainly
It's a year-changing score. It'll make the next year really nice.
Yeah, it's going to get you at least buy you some time. I mean, which is very important as life progresses.
As we have not much of it left.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, that the times I played never come close to doing that. But when I haven't played that $5 bonus, which, you're thinking, hell, why would I want to lose? Like if I lose this 20 hands in a row, I'm out $100 more than, and I'm trying to nurse like 100 here.
Right. No,
just to have a good
it's
time.
a big outlay. But if you miss out on it and something comes in, then you like.
There are some side payoffs, though, that kind of justify it. Where, if you get like a straight, let's say, or some lesser hand that's not nearly as unachievable, that you do get some decent payoffs. You can make a score.
I don't know if you watched yesterday's Lunchbox, but Bazzano, who's the owner of the restaurant, she used to be a dealer at the Hard Rock.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they had a casino there also, in which case I really want to eat there.
She was the proverbial single Asian dealer.
Oh, yeah? Oh, no.
But I don't know.
From Cambodia? Oh, no, Laos.
She was from Laos, which is like.
My God. That's my worst nightmare. Food.
I don't know if she dealt blackjack or one of the other table games, but she was saying, there's a reason they put these things in, and it's not because it's in your favor.
No.
The house keeps getting bigger.
That was an Eddie Kaplan theory.
Yeah,
he
and
said that. There's never a new table game that's introduced that is favorable to the players.
No,
never.
So anyway, I would advise staying away from the bonus bets. But if you would have hit something big while you're playing there,
that would be it.
Then you're done for life. You just got to stop.
Then you're a loser. That's the thing. Right. Like if that happened to you, you are a loser. You can look in the mirror every morning and say, "I'm a fucking loser."
You mean like I look in the
mirror?
It's
that simple. Yeah.
I look in the mirror and I see the image of Donald Trump. That's when you know you're a loser. Hey, I got 3 things I want to tick off.
What do you got?
Okay, first of all, Professor, I'm very excited that he might be coming out to the Lunchbox, and but I got the sense from his big board that he doesn't like Boston very much.
Yeah.
No, you could never have deduced that from his conversation.
Number 2, what are the odds that Tom Brady's personal matter that he has to attend to that has sent him away from training camp for the weekend and the Dolphins exhibition somehow maybe involves a clam bake on Martha's Vineyard? And it's just going to be like, or maybe the Hamptons, some sort of polo match or something with Giselle. And that's okay. When you're 45, I guess you get to pick your own shots, and the rules are a little bit different for you. So
he probably had to make some kind of sacrifice or compromise with Giselle. Like, okay, I'll skip training camp. For her to sign off on him coming back this year, because he wouldn't have done it unless
right. And to his credit, he's not like Mark Duper, who shows up about 40 pounds overweight. Chicken wings falling out of his pockets. Like Brady is like what? He's like a weed.
No, he gets thinner every year. It's amazing. He's way
scary. I think he's just a hologram. He's just being.
What is he eating though? I mean, we should look into this diet. That's what I keep thinking.
Giselle.
I don't know that I have the discipline to stay on it, especially
you missed the punchline.
Giselle? Yeah.
I didn't, yeah.
Well, I mean, anyway, she's probably used to sacrificing when it comes to. I mean, look, she was a runway model for all of those years.
Eating lots of fruits.
They were eating like Lafitte Picaille, the classic story, where he eats half a peanut on the way to New York and a half on the way back.
I think it was a full nut each way, but same difference. Hey, and the third thing is. I heard you talking to the Greek and preseason football picks, which is
what do you think?
Insanity. So, all right. So you want to? I was just look. Did you hear the number for the Dolphins game?
They're favored by 1 over Tampa Bay.
No, 1-888 admit it. That's the number if you're thinking about betting preseason football. It's insanity. Don't do it.
It starts with a 1, is what you're saying. But people, there are believers, and think about this. That is true. That John Harbaugh, I believe, in the 21-game winning streak, is something along the lines of 20-1 against the point spread.
Right.
That is one of the biggest gifts. I mean, it would be like getting an even money horse. I'm not sure what kind of price you got to lay with the Ravens, but you're laying points and he's covering the spread. So you're laying like minus 110.
It would be like being able to go back in time and buy Apple and Google back in
for $1.
Yeah, for $1.
Exactly.
So, no, it's crazy. I can't explain it, but I wouldn't recommend anybody doing it. And now that everybody's going to hop on the Ravens preseason bandwagon, I bet they're going to lose.
When does it turn?
The next 9.
Yeah, when does it turn?
As soon as me and you put money on it.
Exactly. Why is that? Why is that the case
Because
for all
that's
degenerates?
the way the world is. But boy, that is a goofy stat. And again, I don't think he's trying to win. I don't think, I understand people who might want to bet just first quarter spreads or over unders based on, because if starters
maybe.
Play.
Yeah.
But when you're down to you're sweating out that last defensive goal line stand with the 4th string team,
exactly.
Like last night watching the Pats and the Giants, it's just unwatchable and it's terrible. And if you're like,
I didn't think it was that bad though. I mean, I didn't have any action on this game, but I watched a little bit of the Giants game against the Patriots. I was expecting worse. I would say that.
Yeah,
but it's expecting not nearly as I mean, smoothly run a game of football as you're expecting like chaos.
But it's so cheesy. Did you see?
Yeah.
I was watching. It was on the NFL Network, but they basically simulcast the local feeds of the preseason game. It was the New England feed, and they had at one point the split screen where they do the ads now while they're still in the middle of pulling up, and it was like a commercial for Bob's Discount Furniture in Waltham, and it's like this is on the NFL Network. This is this multi-billion-dollar behemoth, and you got the cheesiest used furniture.
Chico's bail bonds. Yeah, I mean,
crack me up.
You know who Whitey Bulger turned to when they finally put him away? Chico's bail bonds, because they can take care of the big man and they can take care of you. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man,
it's great.
But anyway, we got real Dolphins, real fake Dolphins preseason action.
Now, what do you think? I was just reading a little synopsis here and analysis of the Dolphins season, actually, and it's from this Action Sports. Dolphins a little better, but schedule a lot harder. And this guy is not sold that they win more than 8.5 games. In fact, I think he's inclined to take the under on 8.5 games. A team that supposedly, radically improved its roster, and at the same time won 9 games last year. So
here's
they're expecting them to get worse.
My question is this: all right, their defense looks okay, right?
Yeah.
You got Tyreek Hill. The question is, is Tua going to be able?
You hate Tua, yeah?
I don't hate him. I'm just not sold on the guy. And their schedule. They're playing the last 2 road games, December and January 1st, are at Buffalo and at New England. Do they have any kind of running game if they need to start pounding yards?
No, they run game.
That's this genius guy. He was responsible for this sophisticated Shanahan running game. Shanahan didn't know shit about the running game, nothing. Right?
Samuel was just a receiver.
All he knew is that he had a father that was in the NFL, and then he gets this guy McDaniel. All of a sudden, he's like running a ball with a seal over here and a seal over here, like he was Vince Lombardi with Taylor and Horning.
And they got what? Sean Michel. They got a couple of free agents.
Sony Michel is like an afterthought, actually. Raheem Mostert, our guy, that was the guy that gained like 275 yards or whatever, NFC Championship game a couple of years ago with San Francisco. Coming back off an ACL, though. I mean, everybody has a little
a running back off an ACL, and you're like saying this guy's going to be
very excited about that because he's Brett Tester's client. So,
okay. In that case, we love him.
And one of the great journeyman stories. I mean, when you used to like to write sports stories. This is a great journeyman story. Cut 5 times or 7 times from different clubs. Stuck it out. Came back and became the MVP of the NFC title game. And
then blew out his ACL. And how old is he now? Like 30-something?
70. This is a guy we're counting on. Yeah.
So these are the question marks going in. Can they, again, I know it's a lot more of a pass-happy league, and the new coach.
I think they run the ball better, this year than they have recently.
And a lot of people say these matter more than the games in the preseason, but they've been doing the dual practices with the Bucs. And Shaq Barrett, the All-Pro defensive lineman, came out and said, "Yeah, this offense is nothing like we've seen from this team." He's like, they do so much misdirection. He's like, we had no idea and this is Shaq Barrett. He's legit. And he's like, we had no idea what was happening. And
Yeah.
like what they were doing was amazing. And then Waddle and Tyreek Hill have been torching, and the Bucs have a good defense. I've been torching them, and I get it. Preseason's only preseason, but people put a lot of stock in these stupid, dual workouts.
Yeah,
like they see that world, and Hill and
You used to
Waddle
cover this stuff.
having a freaking field day. So I don't know how many they're going to win, but I think, like Defo's asked, since I've met Defo, either win or at least be exciting. I think they're going to at least be exciting. Like I think that's the least we're going to get from this team. Which good, we haven't gotten that since Marino. Literally, since Dan Marino, we haven't gotten exciting from this Miami Dolphins organization.
And this guy has schemes on top of schemes, though. This man.
That's his thing. Yep. That's
his thing. I mean, I watched one illustration. It was kind of like watching the old what was that Gillette NFL matchup?
Edge NFL matchup. With Gillette.
Yeah. And you had
Ron Jaworski.
Jaworski was on there, and of course, Ali Sherman, a longtime coach. Ali Sherman was there. And anyway, so they had a nice illustration of what McDaniel was doing in the running game with San Francisco. And I mean, it was like, holy Jerry Kramer, man. The left tackle just came all the way across the line of scrimmage, the offensive line, and blocked some guy on the opposite side. I mean, we haven't seen, this kind of movement. While the other guys are giving misdirection, as Lubie was pointing out in the practice. It was pretty, I mean, I'm looking at it going, oh, wow. I mean, holy Tony Soprano, man. Sperano. I mean, this Soprano.
They're both dead.
They're both gone. So am I at this point. But no, it was great. I mean, there was something to it. It wasn't ordinary.
Right. No, look, if it's fun to watch, and that's all you want as a fan, is something that's worth paying the price of admission. Which for a while, certain teams definitely not. But there's always hope. It's like spring training. Training camps in the NFL, everybody is interested, engaged. They're all watching and paying attention because it's all about the hope. They think this might finally be the year. But let me remind people, what was it? Richard Nixon was the president when the Dolphins last won a Super Bowl. So.
you had to go in that direction. All right, very good, man. Just to cast a dark shadow over the entire upcoming season.
I shut off my light. My healthy glow is gone.
Dousing, you should just turn out the lights. The party's over, man. You're Don Meredith on this thing. It's fantastic.
I hate to be the cynical old curmudgeon, but
it's a true fact, though. Yeah, there's no doubt.
This has gone from a really winning, successful organization to being a laughingstock. It's a laughingstock now. I mean, if you tallied up all the other teams that have either won championships or made it to the Super Bowl since the Dolphins have last
73, won. Man. That's hard to fathom. It's 50 years.
January
perfect
74
season.
was the Super Bowl.
They made it.
Oh my God!
Made it. I mean, even just making a Super Bowl was the early '80s.
There's only one a saving grace that you could just point to all your Jets fans, neighbors, and just laugh at them because they're worse. They haven't.
Well, and we did have Marino, which was cool. That at least gave us rise to hope that it might happen again. But
who made it to one Super Bowl in his second season, and
but it wasn't his fault, man. You can't possibly blame Danny. I don't care if he was rude to you.
I'm blaming anybody. I'm just stating simple facts that he made it his second year and never made it back. I mean, what is that? It's just incredible.
This is sacrilege here on this show. He's all Elliot Ness on this show. Yes. Dan Marino is an untouchable. I'm sorry.
We love it. I love Marino.
We have to close
out. I love covering him. But
okay, good.
He doesn't have the hardware. He has his.
My God! You're going to go with the no ring theory. Ernie Banks didn't have a ring. You would not want him to be Mr. Cub?
Of course, I love Ernie Banks. It's not all about the rings, as me and you and everybody could attest. It's just about enjoying the ride and being good.
A few wedding rings after they were no longer in use. All right, Mayo.
We got to get ready. I'm in eating shape now.
All right, I'm going to have to get out on the road here right away.
Going to have the muffaletta is going to be the sandwich of the day, the Italian special, the New Orleans Italian specialty. There'll be jambalayas and gumbos and all kinds of great stuff.
Sounds good.
I am pumped. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Catch him at 12 o'clock today. We'll be live out there at Nobo Brewery, Boynton Beach. Bit of a schlep, but worth it. And Tom Tanazzini going to cook up a feast. Now, that would make sense if he charged a few bucks for the general public. No, wouldn't it? Just had a menu out there and people show up. If 100 people show up, can't feed everybody for free. That would break the guy. He owns a food truck, for God's sake. All right, we're going to see you guys at 12 o'clock. And it's always a pleasure being with you. From Mike Lubie Lubitz, excellent Degenerate Friday. Great job by the professor, the Greek earlier today. Always a pleasure having a Greek on the program. And, of course, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox at 12 o'clock today. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, if you can't catch us later, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. I'm Jeff DeForest. And the Dolphins will have played a preseason game. So we will leave you now that.
The time.
It's 9:06.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.